What's up, teammates? Good to see you back. Uh, Look, I'm gonna start this out with Aiden, because it has, it transfers over to what else I'm talking about. It's not all about Aiden, but I was just thinking, you know what? The fandom, they're like 70-30 on Aiden, and that 70 just can't stand Aiden, and the 30 is just like, just give him a chance. Why you guys like on his ass about that? But you know who I know really likes Aiden O'Connell? His teammates, because Aiden comes in and he always wins. For them, the first game. Anyway, when they've had a doldrum ceiling and they're feeling terrible, and they've been on a losing streak, they switch quarterback. Aiden comes in, and in the first game, every time he wins. He did it with Jimmy. He did it last year against the Giants for Minshew. He came in and we had lost so many games in a row nobody can remember, because what doesn't matter? Why would you count that number? And it looks like another in a long string of losses because Kenny's stinking it up like he does. Aiden comes in and wins the game for him. Now, you could say what he did or what he didn't do or whatever his talents were. We weren't going to win that game if Kenny Stinkett would have stayed in the game. That's point blank, period. I don't think there's any doubt there. I don't think there's anybody who could deny that. So the reason we won is because Aiden O'Connell was at quarterback. Okay? So with that being said, I think he's a team favorite, whether he's a fan favorite or not. Now, that brings me to how rough Raider fans can be and how rough Raiders fans are on Mark Davis. I wish you people would give the man a rest. I hope I do a good job portraying this, because I hope you want to share this, because I hope that people can think about this and give Mark some Mike and fighting rest. Okay, the young man, I guess maybe he's not that young at this current point, but even still, he was a young man to an extent when he was given the football team and the operations. Kind of out of nowhere. I mean, we knew Al was getting up in age or whatever, but it's not like he was laying on his deathbed and they were waiting for him to pass for a year and a half. So he got the team under his control in a very stressful situation from the beginning. And he made earlier mistakes. What he did then was try to go with John Gruden. And I remember the days when it was John Gruden had too much control over the team. Does anybody remember back when they were saying that Mark Davis was giving too much control over the team to John Gruden, and it might as well be John Gruden's team because he picks whoever he wants to pick and he controls whomever he has on the every squad and every position, or management or on the team, because he said, I don't know how to do this. Go do it for me. I'll give you a whole decade to do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do. I need your expertise. And I want you to feel comfortable with using your expertise and relaxing and not being worried about what the outside world is going to do to you or what I'm going to do to you, because you got 10 years straight up guaranteed to try to make something happen with what a team I haven't been able to make anything happen with, and I also don't know how to. He brings them in, and Gruden does what he does. He does good, he does bad, he does what he does. He gets clipped over some bullshit, right? That's not Mark Davis's fault. And it's not like the Lakers were getting that much better, but they weren't where they are now. And it was just frustration. Right now, we feel like pathetic. We don't even feel like frustration. There's just trash. We just feel like trash. But that's not Mark Davis's fault, right? It's not Mark Davis's fault that these emails came out and they threw Gruden under the bus because who the hell was he sending the emails to, right? And I'm sure they sent some pretty racy shit back to him, right? But you don't see that. It's not like Gruden was writing crazy shit and everybody was like, wow, this is so wild that I'm not going to read this and we'll put it in a file for 10 years. And then maybe I'll think back and be like, we should have said something about it way back then. Gruden's getting screwed over. That's all that is. We'll put that to the side. But again, that's not Mark's fault. So now he has to come up with something. The special team coach has to come in because they need somebody, right? So he's just like, well, who do the players like the most? Because I don't fucking know. I run the team to an extent, right? So he has to go ahead and get the team favorite to coach the team. He gets so much drama about the shit that he can't even rehire him because the optics are too bad. Just like we were talking about the optics with the quarterback situation, which I'll get into in another episode and shit. But yeah, the optics would have looked too bad for him to hire someone who hasn't been a coach for the team, blah, 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 blah. So he had to go out and do what was best, he thought, at that time, and it was Josh McDoufus. And you know what? You know what people said after that season? That they were a disappointment. They said that the Raiders' season was terrible. We expected more, and I can't believe this is all they could come with when the season is over. But do you hear what the people are saying? You're not listening to what they're saying. They're not talking about how trash the team is. It's not like the Detroit Detroit Lions back in the 80s when everybody was like, well, here we go with another year for the Lions to suck, right? It happens to the Raiders where it's another year the Raiders suck. The difference is no one expected that team to ever do anything. It was they suck, and that's what it is. They never broke any. They never broke any expectations because nothing was ever expected out of them. As far as we go, this Raider franchise, they always say a disappointment, a shortcoming, something that didn't work out the way it was supposed to. What that means is he's making good decisions. He can't be making bad decisions if he's disappointing people. If you're saying that we expected more, it's because he did the right thing. It just didn't work out, but that's not his fault. It's not his fault that he brought in what was supposed to be the hottest coaching prospect in McDaniels and gave him another shot. The news was on it. The news was good with it. Devontae and with Devontae and Derek Carr and the offense that McDoufus could run through them, and it was supposed to be an exciting thing. It was an exciting thing. It was a great idea. The Raiders did a great thing. It was a great package that they put together. At the moment, at that time, when they did it, when the season started, and then the shit didn't work. Well, the shit doesn't work sometimes. But that's not Mark Davis's fault, and I wish our fans would give him a little more room to breathe. So he goes after this, and the fans are on his shit and literally in his face. How disrespectful. This man is the owner of the team trying to help you guys have the best experience you can when you come into this stadium. And that's all he's ever been trying to do from the beginning. Moving to Los Angeles, moving back to Oakland, moving out here to Los Angeles. All he's trying to do is make an area for a team where the fans can be happy to enjoy, hopefully enjoy Raiders football. Okay? If you come up with an idea that nobody likes and it doesn't work, well, then everybody can be whatever, and that's his fault or whatever. However, you know. But in the preseason, season after season for the last 3, 4 seasons, it's been we didn't meet expectations, which means there were expectations, which also means that the thought was that they did the right thing, so they expected good things to come, and then it didn't work out. That is not Mark Davis's fault. In fact, that is the plus to him, is that he keeps working with whomever he's working with and coming together with these plans that the entire NFL world approves of when he does it. And when it doesn't work out, they blame him, but everybody else thought it was a good thing to do. And when it doesn't work out, it's not Mark Davis's fault anyway. All he can do is bring in the pieces. And people are always saying they're disappointed the way the pieces worked out, but they don't say that the pieces were so bad. They said the situation worked out so terrible. And that's after the fact. It's always after the fact. And Raider fans too. It's always after the fact. Most Raider fans were excited about getting. I guess we were half and half about McDoofus. I'll be straight up about that. But the season after that, after his second season when he got fired in the middle of it, people were happy about Antonio Pierce. And we started winning more games, right? I mean, Aiden O'Connell was a quarterback, but that really doesn't matter. We were winning games, and we won enough games for Antonio Pierce to get his job. And there were people that were extremely happy about that. There were haters. There was big, serious haters because Antonio Pierce was the new thing. It was just maybe he was just the new thing, and he's too young to be having a head coaching position. But the flip was he needs to listen to his players this time. He didn't listen to the players when they had a coach that actually took them to the playoffs. And they did the wrong thing by not going with him. So this time, Antonio Pierce, one game short of the playoffs, he can't do that. But he's too successful to completely ignore what a big portion of the fan base wanted and what a lot of players on the team wanted, including one of your best players, was hoping that would happen. And when it did happen, there were a lot of happy fans. Yes, there was a lot of up and down in the media, but it was all basically 50-50. There wasn't a lot of people that were saying, there were a lot of people that were saying he couldn't do it, as many people as were saying he could do it. Now, it seems like most of the media was like, no, it shouldn't happen. And a lot of the players in the media was like, this is what's going to work because he's a player's coach. Then when it gets into it, in my opinion, Anthony Pierce, AP, is a little bit too full of himself. I think once he became the head coach, he started puffing his chest out a little more than he once had. I never really trust people who speak of themselves in the third person, period. There's a certain amount of personal arrogance that you have to speak of yourself in third person. And usually people who do that got, top level talent, you know what I'm saying? Ricky Henderson did it, Karl Malone did it, this guy did. You're decent. Usually you're pretty decent and you can stand upon your skills and call yourself by your name. You know what I'm saying? But I think his arrogance came over to the rest of the team. If you want my little theory on that, since, usually you can get some theories out of me and a lot of them come out pretty damn well. I call the Charging Games thing about with McDoofus. I knew that was a setup for McDoofus, and when that finally came out, I was like, yeah, of course, and people knew that. when I was saying that Devontae Adams, was pissed off at Jimmy Garoppolo and was mad that they weren't playing Aiden O'Connell, and since they weren't, he left. And then everybody said I was nuts until the daggone wide receiver shows comes in and he's like, I'm going to get killed out here if we keep playing Jimmy Garoppolo. That's him saying that shit, not me. Okay? So when I say I'm pretty decent with these, I feel like I am. And I think with this one, I think AP's arrogance got to Max Crosby somehow. They had some type of disagreement. And Max Crosby was cool with moving on from AP. Because I think if it was necessary, maybe Max would have gone to the bat for him and other players going to bat for him could have saved him for another year. But I don't think, I know Max didn't go to bat for him. Right, you can see that. I don't even know if I was still doing shows at this time, or episodes. But what you could see, if you could go back to Max Crosby's show that they do, where he's always interviewed, and it's called, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically based off Max Crosby. He's not necessarily the host. They interview him about how he's feeling about what's going on in the Raider world and blah, blah, blah. But that's the way it works. So they were interviewing Max, and they was like, how do you feel about what happened? And, in so many, his comment was, you hate to see anybody lose his team. I hope his family can find a way to adjust somewhere because they've been out here for a certain amount of time and blah, blah, blah. And this is the game, and the game gets rough. He never said anything about, I wish it wouldn't have gone this way. Nothing about, we had a good time as a coach and player, and it's tough that the schedule or, our record ended up that way, although I don't think it was all his fault, or, nothing he said was in defense of AP. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there was a little friction there, and, AP wasn't, and it was known, especially that it came on afterwards, that AP wasn't running as tight a ship as a lot of people felt he should. And I think if you slacken on practice, not running that type of a tight ship, and allowing other players to not necessarily run as tight a ship, I could see Max Crosby being like, nah, I don't like this, And I could see him not liking it and saying something to him about it. Maybe even if he stepped to him, or if it was a halfway snide comment, or if it was, I think there was a discussion about AP not being as serious about practice as Max Crosby expected him to be. Because as players, AP and Max Crosby were different type of players. Both smart, both at it, both monsters. AP was just, he wasn't as hungry. He was good. And he could have even been better if he was as hungry. But he didn't have to be as hungry because, damn, he was good. Right? But Max is good and he's hungry. And the hungry ones got to eat all the time. And you don't just eat at practice. AP is like, I just eat at practice. I'm home. I'm done. Right? Max is like, okay, well, you got to at least eat heavier at practice. And it seems like AP is like, look, I'm going to eat the way I eat at practice. I'm going to eat what it is. We ain't all got to work out like Max Crosby work out. You do Max Crosby. I do AP. You, him, I'm the coach. That's the way the team works. That's my theory. Take it or leave it. That's what I saw. Anyway, back to Mark. That situation is not Mark's fault. People were happy with having AP. A lot of people thought it was the right decision. A lot of people didn't. But they were expected to perform. There were enough people who saw the way it went and thought that with Tank Telesco and Garbage Minshew, that maybe there could be something for us. Garbage had a good season last year, and Anthony Pierce going to get a good head offensive coordinator that the league can trust and that is ready for the job, and AP could leave the head coach alone and he could do his gig. And I even forgot what the head coach, who the fucking offensive coordinator was under AP. Now that I think about it, damn, put it in the comments. But yeah, so that didn't work out. And a lot of people said it wouldn't. A lot of people said it would, but it didn't. And that is not AP's. It's not motherfucking Mark Davis's fault. He put something together that people thought would work and it didn't. Does that make him a bad owner? No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. And then he brings in Pete Carroll, and everybody says stability. That's what Mark needs. He needs stability, the strength of the old, and bring in, some young youth to the offense, and then bring in the stability that Pete's gonna bring. And we got Patrick Graham, so their defense is already ready, and all really the coach has to do is just be there and provide stability. And then Pete came, and the foundation was as shaky as ever. Because, why was the foundation shaky as ever? Because being held up by some old ass beams who wouldn't let go of each other. Yeah, and that what the problem was. Pete Carroll wouldn't let go of Geno Smith. Pete Carroll wouldn't let go of his son. His son wouldn't let go of the linemen that they brought over that he was familiar with. All the nepotism and oldness came out, if that's a word, oldness, came out, and it fell apart. But shit, who builds a house out of recycled wood? Because that's what we were doing. And it didn't work out. But people thought it would. People said that this is a disappointing season. People are saying this should have been far better than it was. How could this happen? This blindsided the NFL. Why is that Mark Davis's fault? We've gone back 15 years into the history if we include from when Mark Davis hired Gruden, of ups, downs, and relentless situations that were called a lot by bad luck, and some of it was by bad. A lot of it was by bad drafting, because Gruden had too much power. Remember that was a thing. People were saying Gruden had too much power. It might not as well be his team. Mark Davis doesn't step in and tell Gruden what to do. Now, Mark Davis interferes too much, right? Mark Davis is making the wrong decisions. He's making too many decisions. He should just make Tom Brady take over the team and do everything he wanted to do, right? That's where we're at right now, okay? So, in my defense of Mark Davis, no one ever freaking does. So I felt like I have to. And I hope, at least if you don't watch me, the 4 or 5, those of you who do participate or watch and who I'm happy to be friends with, at least give you a little bit of argument up against your friends, man. Get off of Mark Davis's ass. He is trying. He is trying hard. He is a fan's owner. You know what you unappreciative Raider ass motherfucking fans who hate Mark Davis don't realize? If we walk into a crowd and you see Mark Davis, you know who Mark Davis is. You gonna see him. As a Raider fan, you see the owner of your team, you know him. But as NFL persons, anybody who watches football, they see your owner and they like, oh yeah, that's Mark Davis. He has a certain look or his haircut or whatever it is. But we know Mark Davis because Mark Davis is there for you people. He's there for his daggone fans. People literally yelling in his damn face. He's arguing with his fan base. This man is the owner of a multi-billion-dollar goddamn team. And he's face to face with his fucking fans, defending his actions and taking their opinions at the same goddamn time. Showing you respect as persons, as an owner of a team. You couldn't name the face of any other owner in this team. You put them in a lineup with completely different looking motherfuckers. You couldn't pick them out. Because they don't care about the fans. Because they out for their money, because they started being rich somewhere else, and they was like, there's a profit here. And some of them bloody about the game, and they in it. But Mark's thing is his team. That's all he has. That's all he cares about. And he knows his team is his fans. Not the revenue, not the ticket sales, his fans. And his fans will bring the revenue and the ticket sales. He doesn't try to assume that they can just live off of the fact that they're the Las Vegas Raiders and they're sold out from now until, 2030? You know what I'm saying? They're sold out already. He doesn't have to give a damn about what happens on that field. He's been paid up front for years and years and years, or will be paid up front for years and years and years. There'll be no problem with the team. There'll be no problem with the money. There'll be no problem with the city. This Vegas ain't going nowhere, even though it's sliding downhill because our tourism is down, but money is down too all over the world. The world, not even just the country. So we're got a owner who's in his thing, on this shit for the fans, and loves his team. Not just likes his asset. Okay? You respect that. We should respect that as fans. So, going into this year, let's remember that bad things have been happening. It's not been mistakes made. Okay? We get Chandler Jones and he goes nuts. You got Brown, AJ Brown. He went nuts. We got Christian Wilkinson. He went lip wrist on everybody. Who knows what really happened there? All I do know is he takes a lot of pictures trying to kiss other men. And it's very uncomfortable to the other men because he has a picture with Hunter Renfrow and he's trying to kiss Hunter, and Hunter's all the way over here like, yeah, dog, that's funny, but it's not funny anymore. And then he does another picture where he's doing it to Max Crosby, and Max is looking off like, I'm gonna punch this nigga the next time he do this shit. I'm sorry I dropped one on y'all, but still, you can look at Max Crosby in his face. It's like, yeah, you do this one more time, dog. It's not funny anymore. So, that's that. Whatever the hell that was or is, or, it's going to be. But all I know is it's got to be fucked up if it's a situation where a grown-ass man got to go to HR about the actions of another grown-ass man, and the word shower comes up. It's the word shower came up in the conversation. Okay? That I know that word came up. There's this man complaining about someone else on the team to the HR and shower. Like, those four words should not be together in an NFL team. And that's all I'm going to say about Christensen Wilkerson. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Bad luck follows the Raiders. Good decisions are not Mark Davis's fault. Bad outcome is not Mark Davis's fault. What you guys should be happy with is that my dogs are in here and they're gonna knock myself over. Anyway, we should be happy with who we have. We should be happy that we have an owner that cares. We should be happy that we have an owner that goes hand in hand with his fandom. We should be happy we have an owner whose only concern is his football team. And it goes wrong, but a whole lot of seasons, people think that it's going to go right. And that's why we're a disappointment. We're not as much as a terrible team. We're a franchise that's been doing bad, that's had bad luck. So it comes out we're a bad team. Just like, sorry, I got to go back to Aiden. Just like they say we've had a bad quarterback room for the last 2 years, and they throw Aiden O'Connell in there as part of the quarterback room because he's been there, but he hasn't gotten enough opportunities. And if he did get the right opportunity, Aiden is 8-10 as a player. He has more wins than all of our previous quarterbacks combined since he's been on the team. And every time we on a losing streak and Aiden starts, we win the very next game. And we hadn't won the game 12 seasons. And Aiden O'Connell comes in for 3 quarters, and we win the game that we were losing in the first quarter. And none of that has anything to do to Aiden O'Connell or his talent. Back to Mark. You unappreciative bastards. Appreciate wins, huh? And appreciate owners who appreciate their fans. And appreciate podcasters who appreciate their fans. And you guys aren't my fans, but friends. Whatever it is, I appreciate you. Because with friends like you, how could I lose? I always win. But you can't always win. And you can't win them all. And the clouds will get dark. But when you are looking for the bright side, come to the silver lining. Guru out.